Hello everyone, it's been a while since I did a Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile and even an updated deck for this one, but it's one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh rivals, that being the Galaxy Eyes deck or the Galaxy Photon deck from Kai Tenjo, because we haven't got support for him for a while until Photon Hypernova, and this is post Photon Hypernova, and it's been a card that I've been really wishing for a very long time, that being a new version of the Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Just because ultimate form, beyond form type thing, especially since we got Red Supernova, which is a beyond form of Red Nova, or Red Dragon Archery in this case. So I've been waiting for this for a while. But anyway, what do I think about the new support? Well, it's just more support. The deck was already functioning pretty well, but the new support just adds more consistency to it. And of course, it does make some improvements of the deck. Only few cards actually matter. In fact, I only think only 3 of them actually makes a major difference. Other than that, it's just cool new cards to run. And I have to say, I've been still liking the deck ever since I built it. Pretty much runs the same way, just a little better. But no more wasting time, and let's begin. So we of course start off with the main deck. The boss monster itself, the Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. 3 copies, obviously, because this is your main boss monster. This is the monster you're going to be summoning so often anyway. And, of course, there are Exceed monsters that require you to have it as material because, well, this is an Exceed-based deck, obviously. So, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, first off, it can be special summoned from hand by attributing 2,000 or more attack monsters. You will do that sometimes because that is a special summon and it's a level 8, which can give you more Exceed plays, and that's why sometimes it's just there and it can be very useful. But the second effect, where when this card battles the opponent's monster, you can banish this card along with that opponent monster, and until the end of the battle phase, return those monsters back to the field. And if that monster happens to be an Exceed monster, it gets 500 attack points for every Exceed materials it had. So basically, Galaxy Eyes' playstyle is basically anti-Exceed monster. Luckily, it's not like Mech Lords where it has to fight against Exceed monsters, or in Mech Lord case fight Synchros, but this effect has been very helpful sometimes because sometimes if you cannot remove an opponent's monster, this could actually just help you remove that opponent's monster and then just attack them directly. It just helps sometimes. And if for any reason this card loses attack for any reason, you could just banish it, come back with 3,000. There's that as well. But overall, you just have to run 3 because this is your main boss monster. This is the monster you're going to be summoning so often that you just have to run 3. And it kind of goes through really quickly. Also, requirement as material for some of your monsters. And it's awesome! Next, the 2 Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon. So first off, if you control Galaxy Eyes, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then, the other effect where if this card is detached as material, you can special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck. But if it was during battle, double all number monsters attack, which is an added feature for this deck because Galaxy Eyes is technically an Exceed killer, but over time, he uses Exceed monsters for his advantage, or at least ally with the Exceed monsters. And in anime reasons, with numbers. So the double numbers part is pretty powerful, especially because you will be running quite a bit of numbers. And technically, 2 of your Galaxy Eyes are numbers. And that double attack is going to be very nasty because they're going to be absurd high attack power. And in the battle phase, isn't too hard, but you're not going to exactly do that in the battle phase too often, I will have to say that. Because you're probably going to use it during the main phase just to special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck just to extend plays. But other than that, it is a really good card. I recommend running 2, not 3, because 3 can get very cloggy. So 2 should be okay. And it's searchable as well, and it special summons itself, so it just helps. And then, for the remaining level 8s, first off, Galaxy Knight. If you control a Photon Galaxy monster, you can normal summon this card from hand without tributing. And then, if you do this effect, you can special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your graveyard, and that's why you have to run that as 3. But this card loses 1,000 attack until the end of turn. The only problem with this card is that it says normal summon. That's the only problem, because you do normal summon quite a bit, and especially for your level 4s just to start making your plays, so that can be a problem, but for later game, it does help. Luckily, we do got a new card that can fix that in a way, but based on playtesting, not really. But it is very useful. And 1-up because it can be a dead draw until you make some plays. Also, it's searchable anyway, so it's not bad. Once you get your 1 copy, you're pretty much all set because you could just recycle it from there. And then another 1-up, Photon Emperor. This is a new card from Photon Hypernova, where if it's sent to the graveyard other than from the field, so if it's detached as material or just Foolish Burial, you can special summon this card in defense. That can be pretty good, especially to extend plays. So basically, lets you extend plays, and it's another level 8, which is also very nice. And then immediately after this card was normal special summon, because even its own effect, you can do one additional normal summon after that. So that's just very helpful, especially since you will do a normal summon just to start off your plays. So if you want to extend your plays, aka use like Galaxy Knight to extend your plays, that just really helps out with the extra normal summon, because Galaxy Knight still requires you to do a normal summon just to do that. But in that, this is not too mandatory, it's just helpful for extra plays. I'm not seeing this card being too super useful, but it does help, especially when you're going to try to just make some plays. So 1 of is good enough. And then one card you can technically take out, but at the same time still pretty decent, is Galaxy Brave. So first off, from hand, you can reveal 1 Photon monster and special summon this card from hand. And if you do that, this card's level becomes the same as that Photon monster. Since the Photons are going to be level 4 other than Galaxy Eye's Photon Dragon, now Photon Emperor, being both level 8s, well now you have an extra target just to keep this level 8. But being a level 4 also very helps out because rank 4 exceeds. But anyway, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target 1 Galaxy monster from your graveyard and this card's attack and defense becomes equal to that monster's attack and defense. Which can be pretty decent. Highest is probably going to be 4,500 because I do run Neo Galaxy as Photon Dragon in this deck. I'm not going to lie, I just like to have it. But average 4,000 or 3,000, you're probably not going to do that for this card. You're probably just going to use this to extend plays, to be honest, but sometimes being a big beat stick does really help out. Special summoning itself does really help out, especially if it could be a level 4 or level 8. But I've not really found myself really using this card too often. It is just an okay card to run. So that's it for the level 8s. Everything that is not level 8 now. First off, the 3 of Galaxy Soldiers. So first off, you can send 1 other light monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon this card. Photon Emperor is a good discard target. You do have other discard targets since you do have a bunch of graveyard special summon effects. And this is not once per turn, so if you could summon 2 of these, you can go for a rank 5 exceed, but I don't run any rank 5 exceeds in this deck because, well, you got level manipulation. I don't really see much of a point of doing that anymore. And also extra deck spacing issues. But for the main effect is that if this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. The searching is why you run this at 3 of. And the discard isn't exactly too bad either, especially for the special summon, because that basically just gives you another monster for more plays. And the search just really helps. What's nice is that you could also you can use Galaxy Expedition to special summon this card and just search something as well, which is another thing. So yeah, a lot of things you can do with this card. And it's also 2000 attack, important part. Next, I still like to run this engine, the Photon Thrasher. It's a level 4 that can special summon itself if you control no monsters. And obviously, for exceed play purposes for being a level 4. Which we go to Photon Vanquisher, where it cannot be normal summon, but can be special summon from hand if you control a Photon or Galaxy monster. So that right there is pretty nice. But when this card is special summon, you can add 1 Galaxy X Photon Dragon from your deck to your hand. So Photon Thrasher, Photon Banisher, make your play right there. You could go for Galaxy X Photon Dragon, probably the intention for this. You're not going to really do that. I'm probably going to do it exceed summon with both level 4s. I'm just going to be realistic, or link summon with that. But it is just there because you can search Galaxy X Photon Dragon. Obviously, that's going to be really helpful. And then the other effect is that if this card is Exceed material for a monster, that Exceed monster gets this effect. Banish any monsters that is destroyed by this card, which can be quite nasty, especially now we got level manipulation that we could just turn this to a level 8. Getting rid of your opponent's monsters even in the banished state can be quite nasty, so you do have that option. But you run this just to search for your Galaxy Eyes and just to make your plays. And then for another new card, we got Galaxy Summoner. This card is definitely one of the better new ones, because if this card is normal summon or special summon, you can target 1 Photon Galaxy monster from your graveyard, accept itself, and special summon it in defense. One key point about this one is that it does not negate the effect. So you can special summon the Galaxy Soldier, and then Galaxy Soldier could just search for something. Just keep that one in mind. But the other effect is that you can target 1 other light monster you control, it becomes level 4 until the end of turn. AKA make your Exceed play right there for rank 4. And that's why I said I took out my rank 5 engine, because there's really no point to it when this card could just manipulate the level. especially when you're just going to use that level 5 just to go for a link play for most of the games. So I don't really see point of the rank 5 engine. I'm just going to explain that right now. But this card is just very helpful just to make some more plays. That's why you just run it. 3 is a little too much, because if you have nothing in your graveyard, there's no point of it. So 2 of is good enough, and it's still searchable as well. Next, Photon Orbital. So first off, you can target one Photon or Galaxy monster on the field and equip this card to that monster. The equipped monster gets 500 attack. And then you can send this equipped card to the graveyard to search for one Galaxy or Photon monster from your deck to your hand. So basically just another way to search. And that's why you run 3 up, because it's just more consistency searcher. And because you have cannot be destroyed by card effects type effects in this deck, if you just equip this card to that monster, it just basically goes cannot be destroyed by anything type effect until they get rid of this card. It's just there, but you mainly just use this card for just consistency searching. I'm just gonna be realistic. And then for the final Galaxy Photon card, here's Galaxy Wizard, where once per turn you can change this card's level to 8 into the end of the turn. Can be very helpful sometimes. But the other useful effects that you contribute this card to add one Galaxy card from your deck to your hand except itself. It's not hard once per turn, so keep that in mind. It can be very helpful. The only thing I don't like is that you have to tribute it, but other than that, the search is very helpful, and changing it to level 8 is also very helpful. And then finally, just for one comeback play, I decided to run the Chaos Dragon Levier. First off, it's a level 8, and then for its effect is that you can special summon this card by banishing 3 total monsters of light and dark, and then you activate one of these effects based on what banish monsters you do with for this special summon. So the only one that you need to care about is light, because if you banish 3 lights, you can special summon 1 monster from your graveyard. So this is a level 8 with 3000. So by banishing 3 lights, since this whole deck is all light except for this card, you're going to special summon another level 8, do an Exceed play right there. So it just do some comeback play, that's why I just run it. So that's it for the monsters, time for the spells. First off, Photon Sanctuary. It's an instant link play or instant Galaxy Eyes because it just special summons 2 Photon tokens with 2 that are level 4 with 2000 attack and 0 defense. Yeah, sure, you can only special summon light monsters for the rest of the turn, but since your whole deck is light, it doesn't even matter. So yeah, instant link play right here, and it's a good comeback card. Next, Galaxy Expedition. So if you control level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster, you can special summon 1 level 5 or higher Photon Galaxy monster from your deck in defense. You can only activate 1 of these per turn, but that's fine, it just extends plays. Next, for some comeback or more play extension, Galaxy Trace. So you pay 2000 light points, then target 1 Photon monster from your graveyard, special summon it, along with 1 Galaxy monster from your deck with the same level in defense. Most of your Photons are level 4, but now with Photon Emperor, you have a level 8, along with Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, which is another level 8. So special summon usually the level 8s with the Galaxy monster from your deck, which will most likely be level 8, and then you just do an Exceed summon with that right there. This is of course a hard once per turn, and you can of course only summon Galaxy or Photon monster for the rest of the turn, but that's all you're gonna really do anyway, since that's the type of deck it is. But you just run 1 up because the 2000 life can be a little costly. It just makes your plays right here. And then just for some recovery, you play Galaxy 0 because it lets you special summon 1 Photon or Galaxy monster from your graveyard, but in attack position, it cannot attack and its attack becomes 0. That doesn't really matter because this is really just an engine that can be searched that can bring back some of your recoveries. But that doesn't really matter because this is really just here just to make your recovery play. You could just summon back an Exceed monster and just overlay on top of that because that's a Galaxy Eyes thing. Overlay on top. Next, Hyper Galaxy. You don't have to run this, but you contribute 1 2000 or more attack, except for Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, then target 1 monster your opponent controls with 2000 or more attack. And if you do, special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and you can only activate 1 of these per turn. It helps you dodge some effects, in a way it makes some more plays, but the also other important part is that it tributes 1 of your opponent's monsters, so it's not really affecting by card effect, it's more of a cost. So yeah, there is that, pretty good. You don't have to run it, but I like it, and it's searchable. And finally, for another new card, we got Galaxy 100. It's a continuous spell, and when this card is activated, you can send 1 Photon Galaxy card from your deck to the graveyard, which you can do Photon Emperor, which is probably the best target. There's also Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, because sometimes you want that in the graveyard. You got options with that. But the main part is that when a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is special summoned to the field, which is going to happen quite often because you're going to need that as material for many of your plays, you can look at your opponent's extra deck and apply one of these effects. Banish one monster from it, or special summon one number monster from it to your field. The number one is probably not going to happen too often, but just the fact of being able to look at your opponent's extra deck and basically just banish their important monsters, especially when most of them are one-ohs, that is very nasty right there. Sure, this doesn't come up too often, but it's just there and it's searchable, which is why I like to run it as a one-off. And then just for some generic cards, here is Return of the Dragon Lords, because special summon level 8 Galaxy Photon Dragon to make plays, or Afterglow. Trade in, because you run a bunch of level 8s. Reinforcements of the Army, because you're level 4 warriors. And then Pot of Avarice, just to mix back some plays, because you do go through your deck pretty quickly. And then for the only trap in the deck, Tachyon Transmigration. You could run Infinite Impermanence if you want, whatever traps you want. You don't even have to run this card. There's other stuff that you can run, whatever you choose. But there is the nice part where you can negate during the same turn that this card's in your hand, as long if you have a Galaxy-sized Tachyon Dragon. Doesn't come up too often, but it is there. It's just a negate that you can use. So that's it for the main deck. Time for the extra deck. So let's go down all the way up. So first off, we got Galaxy Soul Flare Dragon. First off, requires 2 light monsters with at least 1 monster with 2000 more attack. Photon Sanctuary does that immediately. So if this card's Link Summon, you can target 1 Photon Galaxy monster in your graveyard and return that to the hand. Basically, it just makes your plays, obviously. It's just very helpful. The second effect is that during your opponent's turn, during the main phase, quick effect, you can discard 1 Photon Galaxy monster and then choose 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. It doesn't come up too often, especially since you're going to be using up your hand very quickly, but you do have options here just to do some counters, but most of the time you're just going to do that for the recycle. Next, Starleech Photon Blast Dragon. Requires 2 level 4 monsters, and if this card exceeds summon, you can special summon 1 Photon monster from your hand, which of course can be play extension. Most of the time it will be Galaxy Photon Dragon right there. The other effect is that while this Exceed Summon card is on the field, your opponent cannot target monsters with 2000 more attack with card effects, and they cannot be destroyed by card effects, which can be very helpful. Unfortunately, this is less than 2000, but if you equip this with Photon Orbital, well, it's 2300, so now this card cannot be destroyed by anything until they destroy the Photon Orbital. So you do have that option. And then the third effect is that during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material to special summon 1 Galaxy Photon Dragon from your graveyard to your field. I mean, that effect doesn't really come up too often, but the special summon does help. And also, the cannot be destroyed by card effect part can be quite annoying because your opponent will have to just deal with this card first, especially if you equip this with Photon Orbital, which is just extra protection. It's pretty obvious that it's just a one-off since this doesn't really come up too often. Next, for a new card, and probably one of the most useful cards, Galaxy Photon Dragon. Requires 2 level 4 monsters. Light monsters you control get 500 attack, which can of course meet the 2000 requirement, and especially if you use Starleech Photon Blast Dragon, that kind of just gives another type of protection right there. But anyway, the main effect is that you can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Photon or Galaxy card, it could be any Photon or Galaxy cards, from your deck to your hand. Of course, each effect is a hard once per turn, but that effect is just very helpful. Now, it's only a one-of because, well, it's a Exceed card that does searching. You have other searchers already. This is just more of a play extension, usually if you're doing your first turn play, which is why it's only a one-of. And then another effect, which is a very useful one, you can change 1 monster you control, that is not itself of course, to level 4 or level 8. And obviously, rank 4 or rank 8 plays right there. Either way, this card is just very helpful, lets you make your early game plays. Later on, it doesn't come up as much, which is why I only run 1, because you already have a bunch of searchers as it is. This is a later searcher in a way, so I don't really see a point of running like 2 copies. You could run 2, but 1 has been really working well. The second copy barely ever came up. And then a card that I still like to run, Starleech Lord Galaxion. So first off, it requires 2 level 4 photons, Thrasher with Vanisher. Why not? I might take this out because of that condition, but the effect is that once per turn you can detach 1 or 2 materials from this card and apply one of these effects. If you use 1 material, special summon Galaxy Photon Dragon from your hand. If you use 2 materials, special summon from your deck. It's just there because it gets you your Galaxy Eyes, which of course will start off your plays. But of course there are ways to search Galaxy Eyes, so I am considering taking this out in a way. But it has been proven very useful regardless, so I still like the card. So that's it for the rank 4s to the rank 8s. So first off, we start off with Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, generic level 8 materials, at least 2. So if you have a Photon card as material for this, Galaxy has Photon Dragon, or now Photon Emperor, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. If you equip this with Photon Orbital, well, 3000 attack, which cannot be destroyed by battle as well. And then for the second effect, you can only use one of these following effects once per turn. First off, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can detach one material and negate that effect. If that material happens to be a Galaxy card, destroy that card as well. Negates. Why not? Of course you run negates. And then the other effect is that during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can add one Photon Galaxy card from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, it has to be your opponent's turn, but the fact that you could just do searching for your next turn is just very helpful. So yeah, of course this is just a run of. So of course you run this card. Also because it is still Galaxy Eyes. And it's a number as well. Next, number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy. In the manga, this is basically a fusion between Galaxy Eyes and Hope, or Utopia, just letting you know. So in technicality, it's still part of Archetype. So it requires 2 level 8 monsters. First off, when a spell card is activated, quick effect, it is a hard once per turn. You can negate it and then attach that card to this as material. And then the other effect is that you can detach one material to change the attack target to this card. It's there, not too bad. It is a 3k beat stick, so yeah, your opponent will have to figure out how to run over some stuff first or change your attack patterns, but the negate is just there and pretty useful. It's still Galaxy as well, which is also an added bonus. And then to a Galaxy Eyes, we got Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. Generic level 8 materials, that is 2. And then once per battle phase, you can detach one material from this card, negate all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, and return their attack and defense back to their original. And then during the battle phase, if your opponent activates any card effects, this card gets 1000 attack and also gets 1 additional attack during that same battle phase. The negate is where it really matters, and the fact that it happens during battle combos well with Afterglow because that's going to double all your number monster attack. And guess what this is? A number. So it is just there. It's another Galaxy Eyes, more negate options. Next, Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. Unfortunately, this is not a number, but this is an Arc 5 Galaxy Eyes, so it kind of makes sense. Requires 2 level 8s. You can detach one material from this card, target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it into the end of the turn, but it cannot attack your opponent directly, and its attack becomes 3000. So yeah, taking control of your opponent's monster is pretty nice, especially with another card that was released quite a while back. It just combos well with it. But yeah, Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. It's just there for more better plays. But what's nice is that if you take control of level 8, well, you basically could just make another play right there because you could practically just use your opponent's monster to your advantage. Yay. And then just to complete the Cypher lineup, we go to Cypher Blade Dragon, because Cypher Blade Dragon, well, first off, you're not going to use the 3 level 9s as materials for this card. You can overlay this on top of a Galaxy Eyes monster. And once per turn, you can detach one material from this card to destroy one card your opponent controls. If this card is destroyed by battle or by opponent card effect, you can special summon one Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon from your graveyard. Yeah, it's just more play extension right there. And then to finish off the Cypher lineup, and this is the card that combos well with Cypher Dragon, Cypher X Dragon. I see this as a parallel to the Prime Photon, by the way, for the Cypher version. So anyway, you're not going to use the 2 level 10 monsters as material, and you can overlay this on top of a Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, and that includes the one that you take in control. Because that card that you take in control from Cypher Dragon becomes Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon as well. That's a really nice part right there. So basically, you take control of your opponent's monster and you just made a 4k beater, which is also nice. But that is basically the main effect. The other effect, which is also quite useful, is that you can detach 2 materials, and into the end phase of your opponent's next turn, your opponent cannot target light dragon monsters you control by card effects. Very nice right there. That does come up, especially when you go first. Because when you go first, you can't really do much with your monsters. But this card actually kind of makes some plays. Because what I intend to do with that sometimes is that I summon Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, overlay this on top of the Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, detach the 2 materials, usually Afterglow is a material for it, and then to trigger Afterglow's effect, and also added some protection for the next turn. That's something I intend to do, which is why I still run this, and it's a one-off. But other than that, it doesn't really have too much use, especially for the next effect, is that during the standby phase, you can special summon 1 Galaxy Eyes Exceed monster from your graveyard, and use this card as material for it. And yeah, it is treated as Exceed Summon, so that is also quite helpful right there as well. But you're basically getting rid of a 4k beater for something a little weaker, but probably more useful. But either way, It just combos well with the Cypher Dragon. Take control of your opponent's monster. Use that monster as material for this card because that can be a problem sometimes. And then for first turn purposes as well, just to make more plays and protection as well. So I do still like using this card. And now for the regular Photon Dragon lineup. Before we go to the new stuff, we go to full armor Photon Dragon. You can overlay this on top of a Galaxy Eyes Exceed monster. And then you can detach one material to destroy one card your opponent controls. You're not going to use the level 3, level 8s for this as material. Just letting you know. And because I still like using this card for no reason, Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. You can take this out if you want. Requires 3 level 8 monsters. That actually has come up sometimes, actually, this card, because of this first effect. If you use Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as material, you can negate all face-up cards currently on the field's effects. You exceed summon this with Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, you mass negate the whole field. That has come up a few times. The other effect, which doesn't really come up, but against Exceed decks, it does. You can detach one material from this card, remove all Exceed materials your opponent controls, and send it to the graveyard. And then this card gets 500 attack for each material that you remove, and it attacks equal to the number of times that you send to the graveyard. Yeah, big beater that could attack multiple times. Only against Exceed monsters, unfortunately, but the Mass Negate does actually come up sometimes. And it's another Galaxy Eyes, I just want to run it, okay? And it's awesome. Now to the Ultimate Galaxy Eyes. We go to number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Requires 2 level 8s. If you do not have a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as material, the damage from this card is half. That's an unfortunate part, but that's why Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is super important. But during the damage step, you can detach one material from this card, and then this card gets 200 attack for every total rank on the field. Itself would already give it 1600 attack, so that'll be 56. And if you use Afterglow, that'll double that, and because it's still a number. Since you're Exceed spamming, it could gain definitely a lot of attack. That's mostly what you use this for, but the other effect is that if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, during the second standby phase after this card was destroyed, you can special summon this card to the field with double its attack. So it'll be 8,000 when it comes back. Not too bad, but you're not going to really do that with this card anymore because of the next card. Where we go to Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, the ultimate beyond form of Galaxy Eyes practically. You're not going to use the 3 level 8 light monsters for its condition. So first off, just like Utopia, you can overlay this on top of the base form. So that being number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. So just overlay this on top of it. And of course, this is treated as Exceed Summon. And then you have these effects if you have a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as material. First off, you can detach one material from this card. It can attack 3 times on monsters this turn. 3 heads, 3 attacks. Okay. But anyway, it's also unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, which is a nice added protection for a 4K beater, and a triple attack on that. And finally, this card gets 100 attack for the total number of ranks and levels from this card as material. If you summon this card in the normal way by using the 2 materials with Prime Photon, and then overlay this on top, this card will gain an extra 2400 attack. Yeah, sure, if you detach a material, it'll be 5600, but it will still be triple attack, which can be very nasty. And also keep in mind, the detached material for the triple attack is in battle. So if you do that with Afterglow, this will be a 10 over 10k beater right there that can triple attack. Yeah, that could be quite nasty, especially with the added fact that it's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. Sure, it would be nice if it's opponent's card effects overall, but that might be a little too strong considering that Galaxy Eyes already can gain a lot of attack. But overall, I really like this new card, and it's been a Galaxy Eyes I've been waiting for a long time anyway. Unfortunately, it's not the rank up variant, but I'll still take it. But overall, awesome new card. So that's it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It has been a while since I made an actual update to Galaxy Eyes, and finally with Photon Hypernova with the new Neo Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon, I'm very happy. Overall, not much really has changed other than more consistency, but more consistency, of course, the better. It still lacks few things, of course, but it has been one of my favorite aesthetic and favorite rival decks of all time, so of course, I had to build it, and Galaxy Eyes is just awesome overall. The only thing I kind of wish for is that I was kind of hoping that this would have been a rank up variant of Galaxy Eyes, because we got Tachyon and Cypher Dragon with a rank up magic. So I think it would have been more awesome if they make a rank up variant of Galaxy Eyes for the deck rather than just Chaos Exceed change. Sure, Galaxy Eyes already does armor or Exceed changing already. I don't remember what it was called at the manga, but the Exceed change is a big factor of Galaxy Eyes, so I do get why. So in a way, it kind of already does that. But I would have loved it if they made it into a rank up variant instead, in a way, because I think it would just been cooler. Sure, it would have been a little harder to do, but I think it would just been more fun. But overall, I like the new stuff. The new Neo Galaxy Prime Photon is just awesome. So overall, I'm still very happy. And yeah, that's it for this, and see you all next time.